Saturday night at Mohawk Park. There's a live look outside here in Campbellville, Ontario. That scene doesn't tell the whole story. Yes, it is nice, don't get me wrong. No snow in the forecast right now. However, that temperature, although recorded right now at -3, that is going to start to drop as we have the so-called polar vortex making its way here to many parts of Ontario and even south of the border as well. So it'll be frigid as the night progresses. However, not too bad to start. Wind could be a factor, though. You can see kind of swirling around there. Northwest, 30 kilometers an hour, probably gusting a little bit higher than that. We've got 12 races on tap for this Saturday night. It's going to be a busy 12-pack, and with the 12 races, that means we've got an even bigger wagering menu with that third pick 5. That kicks off in race number 8. So early one, of course, guaranteed at 75, then the mid one in 6, and the late one in race 8 to go along with, of course, the 2 pick 4s and that pick 6 wager that starts in race number 4. We've got a preferred coming up in the 10th. Lots to talk about, and to do that, it'll be Elisa Blow and the Hall of Famer Randy Waples as they are reunited in studio here tonight. We'll head down there in a few moments. Let's get you caught up with tonight's early changes. Race number 1, starting that $75,000 guaranteed early pick 5. We're all clear. We've got no changes here in race 1. Second race is all clear as well. No changes. Same goes for the third. Do note that in race 3, that's where we kick off tonight's early pick 4. Race 4, start of our pick 6. Number 6, PL Quigley, moving to the Andre Goish barn. Gets a bunch of changes. Shoeing change up front from steel to aluminum. Hobbles as well. Got an additional 2 inches to work with, going 60 to 62 inches on the hobbles is 6 PL Quigley, who also goes steel to aluminum up front. Number 7, Matt's Bank, is going to remove the Murphy blind on the left, whereas number 8, Long Shot Panic, will add the Murphy on the inside, adding a Murphy blind to the left side. Take out the 10, Master of Fire, Vet Scratch Sick. Race 5, 6 Gouda 1. Shoe change up front from aluminum to steel. Aluminum to steel up front on 6 Gouda 1 in that 5th. Race 6, start of the mid-pick 5. No changes in the opening leg. 7th race on the program, 4 Lamborghini Lou. Blind to blinkers. Blind to blinkers on 4 Lamborghini Lou. Race 8, it's our lone trotting event of the night, and it's the start of our late pick 5. No changes there, all clear. 9th race, number 4, Dream Fair Arnie B. Going blind to blinkers on 4 Dream Fair Arnie B in race 9. 10th race, on-track feature, $36,000 preferred pace, group of 6, no changes. The 11th, number 10, Southwind Infusion, blind to blinkers on 10 Southwind Infusion in race 11. And tonight's 12th and final, no changes in the race itself. However, we do offer jackpot high 5 wagering. Carryover coming into tonight, more than $36,500. Those are the early changes on a busy 12-race program that gets underway in just over 40 minutes' time. Good luck with all your wagers. Downstairs we go. Let's learn more about the card with Randy and Elisa. Enjoy.
Campbell still the best. 19 in a row. Campbell. Down to the wire. Amity Chef wins the Simcoe Stakes.
He's big, he's strong, and he has got it going on. Top 25, Canada's horse. Something somewhere.
Yeah, motivated on focus.
There, up and pacing.
This is the moment. Gotta one on my opponent.
McWicked on the outside.
Gotta get it the mindset. Gotta put it in motion.
You gotta be kidding me. TCI wins the million.
Game time that I'm coming in clutch. No hang time, and they can't keep up. The game's on the line. Seconds.
Lean back. Get your picture taken.
Thrilling moment on Canadian soil for Bulldog Hanover.
Motivated on focus.
A late push from Confederate. It's my show. Wins the big show.
This is the moment.
Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to Woodbine Racing Live. My name is Elisa Blow, joined as always by Hall of Famer Mr. Randy Waples. How was your week, sir?
Actually, not bad,
Not
you
bad?
know.
Yeah.
Not too bad. I mean, I'm getting a little bit nervous about what's going to be blowing in the next couple of days.
I know. It's
because
the wording, the way they put it, and they're
Yeah.
calling it a polar vortex. That just doesn't sound good at all, doesn't it?
It doesn't. It sounds like something that you'd go to the doctor for. you know?
Maybe. Yeah. So I think the cure for us, obviously, tomorrow is to stay hunkered down indoors.
I think so, yeah.
Of course, farmers don't get that option. Everybody's got to go out and feed those horses
Yep.
and get those stalls mucked out as well.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Doesn't matter if it's rain, cold, or what's going on, horses come first.
That's right. Now, the other thing, too, is I wonder, because they're talking about this starting, obviously, tonight. Like, it was about 3 degrees today, and then it's dropping down to, like, minus 11 through the night.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday are supposed to be some of the worst of it, maybe even Wednesday as well. I wonder how many horses might miss training because of it.
Oh, I would say pretty well most of them, yeah.
And those tracks are going to be hard, right?
I would hazard a guess that you're going to, if you went by the training centers tomorrow, you're going to see a lot of people jogging or getting some training in tomorrow, Sunday. So in that way that they can take that Monday and that Tuesday off, you know, even just leave them, like just turn them out or even just leave them in the stall if it's too cold.
Yeah, you know, we talked about that at the barn where I keep my horse, and we said, you know, probably aren't going to have riding lessons at all.
No.
You know, we don't do them on Monday, but definitely not on Tuesday and possibly not Wednesday because it's just too cold.
Yeah.
And, you know, too cold for the rider, but absolutely too cold for the horse. And there are some rules that people like to follow. The veterinarians kind of pass along about lung capacity when the air gets really cold like that as well.
Yeah,
what's
I mean,
healthy.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm asthmatic in that, so when I go out on a day like that, I can honestly feel it like burning my lungs.
Yes,
Even when I drove in that, it would burn me, you know?
I would imagine driving is just...
Right, and now you know and I know that over time, whether it's been because of breeding or our environment, but there's so many more horses in this day and age with respiratory problems than when you and I were young.
Yeah, well,
Didn't hear
Lasix.
about it as much
Nope.
then, you know? But now it just seems like it's very, very common, you know? So, you know, if it gets too cold, I just think that they should stay inside.
I agree. You know, cover them up in 3 or 4 blankets and do the same for yourself
That's
as well.
right.
It's a good time to maybe Netflix and chill over the next few days.
Yeah,
You've been catching up on some shows I've recommended.
Yes, I have.
watched the shows you recommended this week. He's really good at recommending the shows I like.
Which did you watch?
I watched the Kevin Costner one you told me to watch.
Yeah.
The 3-hour epic
Horizon?
one. Great movie.
Yeah,
Highly
yeah.
recommend. So if you're looking for something to watch, you know what else too? If you're looking for something, I've been watching the Willie Nelson documentary.
Oh, that
on
would be
Prime.
interesting.
Very, very good as
Yeah,
well.
that would be
So there's a
interesting.
couple of things. And, you know.
Doesn't it kind of make you kind of tee-hee to yourself when you see those pictures of Willie in the 50s with the short hair
Right, yeah,
and the
yeah,
whole deal? Then you
exactly.
see him now?
Yeah. Things certainly changed once he grew his hair out and grew that beard. But he was in love with horses, and
really?
at one point in time he was a saddle maker as well. I wasn't
Wow.
familiar with that. When he
Unbelievable.
bought his guitar that he loves, he named it after Roy Rogers' horse Trigger. I learned that.
Okay.
And paid $150 for that guitar, but he also paid $150 for a roping horse the same day.
No
so
way.
he figured it was a good buy.
He's a cowboy.
Yeah, he is a cowboy. Yeah, it doesn't just sing about it. 12 races on tap for you tonight. Race number 10 will be the Preferred Pace. That'll be our on-track feature for you this evening. Just one trotting race on tonight's card, which is race number 8 this evening. Let's get things started in the opener on the program. $75,000 guaranteed. Pick 5 begins here, and we'll be looking at pacers in this race. 3-year-olds, non-winners of 1. So again, straight 3-year-olds competing here in this spot. Some first-time starters, technically. The one horse, Smokin' Hot Scott, a firster, comes in off of a qualifying victory in 201 and 2. And then another firster from the Greg McNair outfit. He's got the 4 Volcanic, who's a big gem. Now, Doug McNair will drive this one. He comes off of a qualifier where he was a 5th-place finisher. So what do we do with the firsters here tonight? Do we include them?
I did. Yeah, I threw them in the mix there, but I didn't use them up on top because, like Volcanic, you know, he's only had the one qualifier under his belt. So let's start with him there. And it was a good qualifier. You know, he showed a little bit of gumption in the third quarter, 28 and 3, and then good wheels on the end of it, 29 and 4 for your first time around. But he did start it off with the first quarter in 33 and change, and then did what he did after that. So you know, if he happens to be down to the quarter in 29 seconds, is he still going to be able to put up those kinds of fractions? Not 100% sure. So throwing him in for 4, Smokin' Hot Scott, the other one that you talked about, he's going to be real interesting because he's a cattle wash, and I haven't seen many
so
of the
many
cattle.
cattle washes that were sold in the yearling
right,
sale,
but
right?
I haven't seen many of them on the track.
We don't know
so
what they are yet.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. And I also like the way that he qualified, but he's got the rail.
Yeah,
So, you know, again, you know, I don't know how hard they're going to want to push him that first start, especially with the rail. So threw him in for third. Willie B threw this one in for second. He's had a couple of starts for Tony Beaton. You know, I think he's kind of on the verge of a win in here. But where I'm going to go is Hasselhoff. He's going to be my top pick in here. I love the way that he raced both starts here, had a good second in his last one. And what I liked about where I'm going to put him up on top is that, you know, Tyler went out of there with him last start from the 6th hole. So I don't think he has any issues whatsoever about putting this guy up close into the action, whereas some of the other ones I'm a little bit scared of. Now, I didn't use the 7, and I think that that could come back to haunt me.
Oh, really?
The Herb Holland horse. I like this horse. One of them had to kind of sit out. He's only had the 1 start under his belt, although he is going to move down a couple positions from the 9 hole in that first start now with the 7 hole. But again, I don't know just exactly how hard they're going to want to be with him. So 2-6-1-4 with Hasselhoff on top is the way that I'm going to go.
Times 2, because I did exactly the same as you, and I didn't copy your paper.
No way.
I
Yeah,
went
yeah, for
2,
sure.
6, 1, 4, and the
Cool.
reason I used the 2 up on top is he's got more experience.
Yes.
He comes in off of that second, and the time was pretty good, I thought, for his last race as well. So I think experience can pay off here.
I agree. And he also, like, you know, showed a leaving move. So
Yep.
if they did it last week, there's no
They're
reason why
probably
they wouldn't
gonna do
wanna
it
keep
this
him up
week.
close to the
Don't
pace.
hassle the Hoff in race number
right.
1. Let's go over to race number 2. Second half of the early double, 5-year-olds and younger, non-winners of 2 or 32.5. And back on the pace again. Just the one trotting race comes up later on for you is race number 8. A smaller group here, 7 horses to compete. And I've always been a fan of this Rene Dion horse, the Giggity Giggity Giggity. You know, he's been a lovely horse. Last year he made almost $50,000. He comes in off of a second place effort back on January the 4th, in behind a good horse in RJ Ringo, who's on the card today as well.
Yeah, RJ Ringo is streaking
Really
good right
good.
now. Yeah, very, very good. Giggity, giggity, giggity is also the way that I'm going to go in this race. I was so impressed with him on the December the 26th win.
Yes, the Boxing Day
he,
win.
He
Yep.
missed a couple weeks, 15 days between starts, but still come up with a real nice win out of the 10 hole. Then last week he goes back from that 22,000 claimer into the straight non-winners of 2, and like Elisa said, he came up with a really, really big effort. RJ Ringo is just streaky good right now, you know. So I'm giggity giggity giggy is the way that I'm going to go. And honestly, Elisa, if in my multi-legs,
Yes.
he's a single.
Oh, I would think so too. You know what? I think I actually made him my single because I filled out the plays of the day board today.
No way.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I
Beautiful.
used him. But you're right. That RJ Ringo, he's looking for 3 in a row for Guiche, right? He's on tonight's program. You're going to see him a little bit later on. I'm not sure what to do with on-time delivery. I mean, he's coming in from racing down south of the border. And then we have another new horse into the mix as well, and that's Dr. Cruz.
Yeah, a couple in ones. Well, the Husteds are starting to bring some
They're
more
bringing
horses up. And like, I really don't know where Hawthorne stacks
Yes.
up against our track. I have a little bit better reading with Hoosier, not so much with Hawthorne. I don't even know if I ever raced at Hawthorne, to tell you the truth. I know I paddocked the horse at Sportsman's Park. But I don't know if I ever raced at Hawthorne or not. But anyway, yeah, some new ones coming in from the Houston stable. You know, so far everything that they've brought has been, you know, nice additions to the circuit. So I'm sure that this one will be as well. But I'm going to take a wait and see approach on him. And giggity giggy. Now on time delivery, the other one that you brought up of the McNairs, that's a new face to our circuit. I am going to throw him in for second. Last line December the 17th. Now I don't know exactly when he came up to Ontario, but I'm kind of hoping that he's been up here for a little bit of time, you know, maybe 3 weeks, so that he can get adjusted, and for the fact that, you know, Greg and his crew can kind of go over him and get him the way that they want. So I think that he's playable in here. All-Star whatchamacallit, I really like the way that this horse has been racing. He's drew some horrible post positions over his time, and now he's got a nice little 5-hole to work with. Didn't work for him last week. He was parked every step of the mile, but he gets Tyler Jones back, and Tyler Tyler seems to have gets along very, very well with the 5 horse. And on the bottom, I'm going to throw Like a Glove. Kenny Skinner, second start for this guy. He brings a lot to the table. I know the lines aren't exactly rah-rah right now, but this is a pretty deep little colt there. So I think that, you know, this time of the year in a straight and all winners of 2, he's going to be tough. He's going to be tough like a glove.
I had a little giggle when I saw the last horse that On Time Delivery raced against was Kopi Luwak.
I see. Yeah, you noticed
remember that
too,
whole
did
story?
You? Yeah, little Yonkers.
When he came out, we were like, what the heck is a Kopi Luwak? And we Googled it, and yeah, we found out what it is, right? And if you'd like to know, you can Google it yourself.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
going to be thinking twice about it, but it's a special type of coffee. Race number 3 on the program is where we kick off the pick 4 for you. Fillies and mares in here, nominators of 25,000 in their last 5. Oh, my girl's back in, so much more. I again had a little laugh because I wasn't here when she raced on January the 10th. I just wasn't scheduled to work that night. So that means she didn't get her lucky carrots from me. But she still ended up with a good second place finish in behind De Barn Dog, who had a great race that evening. Now she gets a new pilot tonight in Tyler Borth, and I know that James is like her favorite sweater, as I've said over and over again, but I wonder how Tyler is going to suit her here tonight. I can understand the move too to Tyler because he has driven her in the past, and he's a London boy, right? So, you know, the Beatsons are London people. They've got a London boy in the bike tonight.
I think, you know, something, if I'm not mistaken, I think Tyler Borth drove so much more in like a grassroots or a sire stake action when she was like 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Now
how
I
old
think
was
he's
Tyler Borth then? 16?
Yeah,
Wow.
probably. He looks like he's about 14 now. So, but so much he's drove her in between those as well. But I mean, he's one of those guys that he's going to get along quite well with Sophie. I got a feeling that Sophie can teach drivers more than what drivers are going to teach Sophie at this point. And the year pin was there last week.
I saw.
You know,
Believe me, I watched.
It just, the Barn Dog was just too much for her. But boy, she tried to fight her big time. So I think So Much More is deadly on her game right now. But I am going to look to beat her. Now, we're going to show you a replay of this one, Elisa. Now, you and I always have had our own little fantasy stable. Now, this one's not black. But my goodness, is she
We'll let her
pretty.
in? Okay.
Yeah, she is so gorgeous. And this is this 2-horse Blue Pacific. Just a recent purchase, I'm guessing, by Sealster Farms. You know, she's came up from the United States, and she has really impacted this circuit. And not just the fact that, you know, that she's been, you know, had a couple of wins. It's the way that she's doing it. Now, you can see right now it's not the greatest replays, but this is her up in front. You know, there's going to take a little bit of a rush at her here with Lions Better Day, who raced very well. But, I mean, this girl here, she is really, really starting to impress me. And like I see, like when she walks into the winner's circle, she looks like she's going to grow immensely, and she's
only
already
4.
a big body kind of a horse, you know. She's just stunning. So, Randy,
ladder to the stable,
Randy's
then.
got a little bit of a crush going here. So, yeah, he's going to play against So Much More, and he's going to go with Blue Pacific. Like I said, I've been so impressed by what she's done all along. We live-wired McClure last night and had a little chat with him about him, too, and he more or less put it out the same way, that he's extremely impressed, doesn't really know just how far this one can go. So Blue Pacific's going to be my top pick in here.
Now, Luke, of course, our producer, you know, he's the brains behind this operation, right? So he just informed me that Tyler Borth was the first person to drive Sophie when she first came here to the province of Ontario.
Nice
So
little
they're
reunited. Yeah.
Just like you and me.
There you go.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's race number 3 on tonight's card. Let's go to the 4th race, where we kick off the pick 6 and back on the pace here. 5-year-olds and younger, non-winners of 1, and we have a field now of 9 because there is that scratch of the 10 horse who probably would have been a player but drew a tough post position, and that's Master of Fire. So that horse is 6 scratch from this race. Above my pay grade, love the name, number 1. It's a Cullen horse. Cullen's, I find, like when I'm here on a Saturday night, they win at least 2 races on the card. So I figured I better put a circle around this one here tonight. I'm the only one that's going to use above my pay grade in the top spot. But I don't mind this horse tonight as a possible upsetter here. I know you're looking at this Matt's Bank horse, and there's some equipment changes with this guy too. And he's only really making his 3rd start back after taking some time away.
Yeah, no, and what I kind of like about him too is even just that qualifier that he just showed December the 27th. Good wheels on the end of it, 27 and 2. mile and 56-2. Another time that he raced over our track, April the 18th of last year, finishes second. Look at the wheels on the end of that one. 26-4, 54-2. So now Darcy Clancy's the trainer of him. He qualified him back, did a really good job with him. Raced him back that first start, had the 9-hole, but didn't do a whole lot with him, and then made a bit of a 3-wide move. Now, where I don't mind that is the fact that he's not going 3-wide unless he thinks he's got the power to do it. You don't take a horse that's, more or less chewed up around the last turn and then move them out 3-wide. It just doesn't really happen. So he moved him thinking that, he was going to go forward. And I think that the horse raced okay. Like, he did make up a little bit of ground when he first moved him, but then he faded a little bit. But he's picking up Trevor Henry tonight. They're taking the Murphy blind off of him. Now, usually a Murphy blind's only on for one reason. That's to keep a horse straight. And usually the only reason that they get crooked is if they're sometimes hurting or a little bit of nagginess, in a joint or something, so they'll get on a little bit of a line. Well, they're taking the Murphy off of this horse, so that tells me that he's not on the line anymore, which tells me that he's probably very healthy right now. He's picking up Trevor Henry tonight. He showed where he has been more than capable on our circuit. He's had a qualifier and a race underneath his belt. I think he's going to be pretty good to go in here, so that's the route I'm going.
Yeah, and I see Doug High has changed a horse. He's got this 6-horse PL Quigley that he was conditioning, and now he's sent the horse over to Andre Goish, and they're making some changes too, going from steel to aluminum up front, and they're letting these hobbles out a couple of inches as well.
Yeah.
Must be a big horse.
Yeah. I remember actually the mare that he was out of Taylor Lane Action, and he's a shadow play. He's all Ontario, this boy.
So that's the 4th race again, where we kick off the pick 6 on the night tonight. Let's go to the 5th. Fillies and mares, non-winners of 8,000 in their last 5, and some nice horses in this race. Some horses that we've been fans of, like Western Wish, Gouda One, even Wildcat Star, who had a great year last year with just the 3 wins, but still made 60,000. You got to figure Wildcat Star needed that race back on January the 11th because she hadn't raced since the end of November. She should be able to move up here tonight, but Stonebridge Halo is on the drop down, and I think that puts this horse as the one to beat.
Yeah, I think that you picked out the 2 horses that are the 2 tough ones to beat. Wildcat Star from the inside. We've seen her raced at a higher level than this, so non-winners of 8,000 to her on a good rotation. That's nothing. Picking up Trevor Henry has the rail to work with tonight, so I got her in for second. She's going to be tough. The other one you brought up, Stonebridge Halo, like Elisa said, she's taken a big drop down, and we've seen her when she's in the class that, where she can overpower them. She does just that. She just overpowers them. No matter how they race her, they can race her in front, they can race her from off. She's just a really, really nice kind of a horse. Chief's Dream Girl threw her in on the bottom of my ticket. I thought she raced extremely well. And the thing with Chief's Dream Girl is she's dangerous. The minute that you think that, this isn't going to be her night, that's when it is her night. So she's one that you always kind of got to keep an eye on. She's a very dangerous kind of horse. And speaking of danger, not that I want to keep bringing up the, the danger powers kind of a thing here, but where I'm going to go is the 9-horse He's Express. Now, where I kind of really like her, we're going to take a look at this replay in her last. Brett McDonald was doing the driving. She had the 6-hole, did a little bit of a move out of there, got away 4, stayed to the inside, and in my opinion has good wheels on the end of it. But where I really, really like what's going on here is the fact that she's going to pick up Doug McNair. So I got a dangerous mare that's got good late speed on the end of it usually, and she can find her way down through them. She's in, kind of a little bit of a car, sports car to drive. You can maneuver her, and she picks up McNair, who I consider to be a very dangerous kind of a driver. He can surprise at any time. So that 6-horse that just finished second there is the way that I'm going to go in here. Bit of an ask, coming from the 9-hole. But something, Elisa? Dougie was our star of the card last night. He won 3 races, and not one of those horses he drove.
What?
Yeah, he hadn't. He just got on all
You're
them
kidding.
cold. Just got on all them
Way to
cold.
go Beaker.
Yeah, and then just jumps up and just win, and completely change some of their style of racing. And that's why I just love watching this guy drive. I just think that his driving sometimes to me is just pure genius.
Well, we know he got off to a bit of a late start because he took a little bit of time away,
Yeah.
and that's cool. Like,
He's
I'm
fresh.
all for people taking a break, right?
Are you trying to tell me something?
No. I'm trying to tell me something. Like, I'm coming up to some vacation pretty soon, and I'm really looking forward to it, okay? But like you said, he's fresh, and now is the time for him to strike because James is not here. So
Yeah.
the more wins that he can rack up right now, the closer he's going to get himself into the top of the heap.
Well,
right?
his two biggest competitions over the last few years here have been James and Louis.
And guess
Neither
who's not
one
here?
of them are here, you know. So Dougie picked up 3 wins last night, and like I said, I just love the way that he can think things out that maybe other people, and he'll try things that other people don't
Yeah,
do, and he
yeah.
can carry a horse a long
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and he can make a horse believe in themselves and that, and you know, there's just so much genius. So he's going to pick up this He's Express. I like the way that she's been racing, and I think that Dougie's just going to add another bullet to the cylinder.
Well, speaking of drivers, we're going to go back to race number 4 on the card because we have a driver change that's just come in for you. So in the 4th race on the card tonight, to kick off the pick 6, the 3-horse Snow Walker make the driver Jonathan Drury. So JD,
Dale Spence.
no Dale. So JD is going to pick up the drive with the 3-horse Snow Walker in race number 4. Let's move ahead to race number 6 to kick off the mid pick 5. And this time looking at nominators of 8,000 in their last 5 and a field of 10 here. And again, you know, you're talking about Dougie. I would love to see Wheels win tonight. This is the drop for this horse. He's a classy individual, an earner of $1.1 million. I think a lot of us kind of were hopeful that he would get that win recently, and he just hasn't. It's like the opportunity's there, and he just either doesn't want to go past the last horse. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, Dougie's back. He drove him last week, and I thought, okay, Doug's back with him. It's his old buddy. You know, we'll see a big effort from him. And he didn't race badly. He
No.
finished 5th in behind Salzburg Victor, who was much the best, right?
Yeah.
Now, we see the drop here tonight to face nominators of 8,000. I mean, this has got to be his time to shine, right?
Well, you know, you would have to think that he's going to get raced, you know, that way. So I think it's going to come down to the duel of the brother-in-laws. That's the way that I got it hooked up there. Wheels on Fire, I'm going to put in for second. I agree with everything Elisa said, and I think that Dougie has obviously proven over time that he gets along with this horse the best. So at some point, Wheels is going to get his way back into the winner's circle. He's just too fine of a specimen not to, and maybe it is going to be tonight. But I'm, again, going to look at that dangerous kind of an approach here. Now, here's a horse on the inside of Dougie. If Dougie decides to go out of there, I think that Billy can move with him with Major Fernco and stay close to him. Now, this, again, is another dangerous horse. And I got to give a lot of praise to Billy Davis for the way that he's been driving this guy. He drove him the first time, just kind of more or less a pylon in the final of the pop-up, you know. He went off at 12-1, so he just went searching for money, you know, maybe a big effort, and he did. He got money. And he also put up a nice effort last quarter, 27 flat to finish 4th in there. And it's like, to me, like it's almost like Billy knew right away what he was dealing with. And he is really doing well for Paul Thomas Court. And Paul Thomas Court's doing really well for himself. But Billy certainly isn't hurting him either. Now, here he comes back the next week, you know, and he's just, to me, he's getting along really good. Now, everybody can say, hey, this guy, you know, he raced okay. Well, listen, this is not his best races on the outside. I find his best races are when he's raced down in amongst them. And to me, that makes him dangerous. And if he can get away and stay close to Dougie, I think it could turn into the battle of the brother-in-laws. And I'm thinking that maybe Major Fernco is the one bringing this fantastic form that he's bringing right now. That's the thing, and I've said this before, and we've even talked about it, Elisa. Like a horse like Wheels on Fire, he brings so much back class.
Yes.
And he is taking the drop down, but the form isn't necessarily there. This guy is moving up, but the form is there.
Okay,
I'm going to take a chance.
There's another one that you included and I included as well who is moving up, but off of a big effort, and that's this 9-horse, Sometime Somewhere. I mean, this horse, we put a star beside him last Saturday because of the big effort that he had after the vet scratch.
He was huge last week. He was, but, you know, he's going to pick up a different driver tonight with Tyler Jones. He has a star beside my name. I am using him in for 3rd. I just think with the way that the draw set out and the way that I got this race going through my head, I think that there's a better chance that Sometime Somewhere, if Tyler elects to pull the trigger tonight, he could pay for it a little bit out of there, and then maybe that might leave him a little bit vulnerable on the end. But as for a horse that's bringing phenomenal form into this race, Sometime Somewhere was immense last week.
That's true, and I think that's why you have to include him
I agree.
in the bottom of your exotics for sure. sure, right? Even with this kind of crummy post position that he's got tonight, but he does go from steel to aluminum up front this evening as well, so
Yeah.
the running shoes are on.
The Nikes came on.
Let's go to the 7th. Non-winners of 14,000 in their last 5, and again, we have a good field, a good group of 10 competing here. Now, I had a harder time because, like, Salzburg Victor, last week he looked like he could have gone around again. Do
Yeah,
you remember that?
yeah.
Like when he crossed the wire, I thought, I don't think Brett can pull this horse up. Like he just kind of kept on pacing, and you know, he looked like a horse with a ton of confidence, and that's exactly what happened. He got this massive confidence booster off of a big win on January the 11th. I think he comes right back and does it again.
In my opinion, it's almost a drop down. I know it's the same class, but I think he was racing against maybe some tougher ones
horses.
last week. You know what I mean? So if anybody's looking for a key out there, I would suggest Salzburg Victor. You know, keys are important in those multi-legs, so you can use more horses and you can keep the cost kind of down. This is the way that I would go in anything involved with the 7th race. I would key this horse. He looked amazing last week, and just like Elisa said, I mean, on the run out, he was even stronger than when he was getting to the wire. So, I mean, this horse is dead on good right now. I say that he's a key. I'm using codename Cigar Box in for 2nd, Lamborghini Lou in for 3rd, and Century Heineken coming back to our circuit. They've been spending a lot of time down in the States, back up here with Dave Maneri, Dougie McNair going to be driving him. Got him in on the bottom, but I really, truly do, in my heart, don't believe that there's any possible way that any of these horses beat Salzburg Victor unless Salzburg Victor decides to beat himself.
I agree. He was just so
Huge.
impressive.
And I mean, we've
so
seen him
big.
do it at the top
Yep.
level. Just
we have.
rack up win after win at the very top level. I think he's back, and he's always been a good wintertime horse.
And because of the way he won last week, that's why I used Wheels in the top spot in the 6th race, because I mean, he was unbeatable. There was no way anybody was going to get to him. And now that Wheels has taken that drop down, you know, it makes him look better there because he gets away from a horse like Salzburg Victor tonight.
Wheels' 2nd was like a win.
Exactly.
Because he wasn't
it was a
going to
4th,
beat
I
Victor.
think. Yeah.
He wasn't going to beat Victor.
Nobody was going to get
Nobody.
close to him. It was very, very impressive. Let's go to the 8th, the only trotting race on the card tonight. 5-year-olds and younger, non-winners of 3. And this race is where we kick off the late pick 5. There are 12 races for you tonight. A field of 10 in this race, and one change. It's with the 3-horse Saturday changes barns. He was claimed last start from the Dave Maneri barn, moves into the Joe McIsaac barn. This was my joke about this horse Saturday when he got claimed on January the 6th. I said, but wouldn't it be more appropriate if Friday claimed Saturday?
Yeah, that is a good one.
And Mr. Friday liked my joke.
Yeah, it is
He
a good
did,
one. You got
he
a
did.
chuckle out of me, too. Actually, Rose has got a good joke in the kitchen tonight there. Make sure you go see it.
Okay, I will. Sid the Kid, the way all of us are going here from the Bayerjean barn.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty logical, you know, and, you know, Brett gets along really good with him. And one thing about Benoit, you know, I mean, like, he's going to have a little bit of a stale date, but that does not bother me in the least coming out of his barn. You know, he's a hard-working guy. Those horses are on the track all the time. They've always got their fitness into them, even if they're going to miss a little bit of time. You know, they can get right back into that winning sort of a cycle. He's got a good post to work with in here tonight. But Saturday, I'm going to throw him in for 2nd, and I find him to be quite an interesting horse because he did make my watch list in that last start. Even though he didn't, he did a chop and got end up finishing 2nd. He still, to me, raced very, very well. Now moving into Joey McIsaac's barn, top quality kind of a horseman. I think that this horse is really going to do well in his barn, so I'm going to throw him in for a piece of it as well.
Well, if I remember too, I think he was looking like he was going to win, and then Radio Lab for Hensley came flying from off of the pace, right? And got it, and I think at a decent price too. That day as well. So the 4 is the way a lot of us are going here in the 8th race to kick off the late pick 5. Let's go to the 9th, back on the trot again. Non-winners of 4,000 in their last 5 with a field of 10. All right, there's some interesting storylines in this race. We have a horse by the name of Neptune, or I guess we'll call him Neptune N, right? Coming in from racing in Australia. We've seen a few Australian horses into our circuit in the last, let's say, month or so, right? There's the Snowy horse, and then there's this guy, Ultimate Snowy, and then there's now this guy, Neptune N, from the Harry Poulton barn. Now, he's qualified a couple of times, both those qualifiers with James McDonald. He'll get Travis Cullen here tonight because we know James is doing a luau, probably, wearing some kind of a grass skirt right now. But the other interesting story I find here is with the 9, Speaker of Peace, who gets reunited with Bob McClure.
And a trainer change.
And a trainer change. He's over with Don Lindsay, which is interesting as well.
I think Uncle Bill sold.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, he's still down as the owner, though.
He could, well, then maybe the trainership
Who knows?
wasn't changed, but I don't really see Uncle Bill handing a horse over to somebody else. He does a pretty good job on his own, so he doesn't need to go. I'm going to throw Speaker of Peace in for second. Very, very interesting kind of a horse. Going to making his first start out of Donnie Lindsay's barn. We've seen this movie before with Donnie Lindsay. He'll get his hands on a horse, and he usually ends up capitalizing very soon. I'm going to throw him in for second. There is one that I like a little bit better. I'm a Rocket, I thought, raced very well in his last start. Going to throw him in on the bottom of my Superfect in for fourth. The 2-horse Tyga Hanover. I thought he was a little bit better last week for Murner. His first few starts for Murner when he first got him back off of Dwayne Marfisi there, just kind of seemed like he maybe just went through a little bit of a lull there, but he just didn't seem like he had that mojo going. But I thought that last start was a better one. Not good enough that I think that he's going to win this race, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm going to throw him in for third, and like I said, Speaker of Peace in for second. Dreamfair Arnie B is the way that I'm going to go. Get ready, Mr. Lammers from Mount Bridges, Ontario. Dreamfair Arnie B, I've been waiting and waiting. Now, this guy's recently came back. Jason Libby gave him some time off and then requalified him. And, there's been a couple of times that I've wanted to use him, but my goodness, he's either seems like he's up against it for the competition that he's in against, or in his last 2 starts, 9 and 10 hole. Both times raced good. Now, this is the last start where, again, has the 10 hole, and you're going to see a big move on the outside of him with Tyler Borth. Here he starts to come now on the end of it. Now, again, it's nothing that's going to sizzle, but he's the only horse other than Brett's that's actually, got some serious pace on the end of it. And I've been waiting for this. And now he's coming back into that non-winners of 4,000, but no 9 or 10 hole this time. Now we got the 4 hole. I think he's going to be good to go in here tonight for Tyler and Jason Libby. And Libby sending in a bridle change on him too. They're going to take the blind bridle off, go to blinkers on this guy. I think that he's sitting on a huge effort. I am a huge fan of this horse. He has got an immense set of lungs. He can carry speed a long, long ways. I think that he is tight, fit, and ready to rock.
Well, they got him at 8-1 morning line. Last start out, now probably the post position didn't help either, but he was almost 80-1 when he rounded out that superfecta. Yeah, big wheels for him. And he'll go in the 9th race on the program this evening. The 10th race is our feature race for the night tonight, the Preferred Pace for $36,000. Now, No Control surprised you and I last week because we thought he'd need another one for sure, right? Because he had that first race back on January the 4th, and he was 8th, and kind of they didn't push him very hard. But then he came back on January the 11th in the Fellows barn, and he had a huge late kick to end up finishing in second.
Yeah, I mean, he's certain. I'm going to put him up on top tonight because, James the Paralyzer there last week there, he couldn't wait to get out this horse to the outside there and get going with him. No, James is far from a paralyzer. I hope he's listening to that in Hawaii before he goes on the...
I think he's drinking something called a paralyzer.
He's probably
right
in Hawaii on the SS Minnow right now there. Gilligan McDonald there. We won't see him again for another few years. But anyway, here's the big horse here. And I mean, at this point, I had Pacino Hanover on top.
Yeah, you did.
I thought that there was no way that I was going to be able to outkick him. But there's a difference between a horse racing every week and one that's just coming back. But he only fell a head short. So I'm going to go to No Control in here. I think Powertrain is logical in for second. I got Poseidon Sealster, who is on amazing ability right now, in for third. And Pacino Hanover, the horse that got me the victory last week, moved him down in for fourth. But Jack Panic, more than dangerous in here. And Fox Valley Landon, this is a new one coming in from the Husteds. Been doing his racing at Hawthorne, but racing in the top classes out there, pacing some very, very fast miles. And how about that for a win percentage last year, Elisa? 7 wins out of 20 starts. And what about the mark? 47-4 over DuQuoin. I mean, that is a big, fast track. DeCoin, but still 47-4 is 47-4.
Yeah.
That is a very fast time.
impressive.
I think that this horse is going to be a good fit in here.
Yeah.
I just want to watch him race one time.
What about a busy night tonight for Don Lindsay? That's like 3. I think that's 3
Yeah.
that he has in on the night tonight. So it's all hands on deck. And I loved the way Poseidon Sealster won on January the 4th. In fact, you were off that night, but I know you were watching. But I said to Chad, I said, I think Randy would have liked that race so much he might have made that horse the star of the night.
Yeah, I could
Because
have.
he was-
I mean, I'm a big
he was
fan
so
of the
impressive.
horse anyway.
Yeah.
He's just one of those horses you get to watch every single week race, and I just love him. He's a warrior.
Yeah, those are the ones that we both agree that we like the most. Race number 11 on the program. Non-winners of 3 or 81.5 life, a field of 10 in this spot. And here's where we find this RJ Ringo. We talked about him earlier on in the show, saying that Andre Goish has a horse who's like really, I mean, he's firing on all cylinders right now. He's looking for 3 in a row. He's hindered with a tough outside draw here tonight, drawing the 9 hole here. Can he win 3 in a row is the question, and can he do it from the 9 hole?
I got a better question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to beat him?
Well, I was a little concerned about Sergeant Slaughter possibly
That's who I got in
tonight.
for second as
See,
well.
I find, and I've said this to Jeff so many times, especially when we're playing thoroughbreds, 3 in a row is hard for anybody, right? The post position is like a slight concern for me here tonight, and I thought I think I'm going to use Sergeant Slaughter tonight in
it's
the
a
top
logical
spot,
pick on your
and
part.
then I'll use RJ Ringo. If he wins, great, because every time he does win, like you've said, he pays pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
last start nobody thought he was going to win, and he was like 14-1,
Yeah,
right?
That's what kind of scares me tonight.
It
He's coming
might-
back in the same class.
Yeah.
Last week we all kind of like wrote him off. You know what I mean? Oh, he won't win in here. Well, he didn't just win. He more or less crushed them the way that he went by them there on the end of it there. I mean, he's got some serious speed like this horse. I mean, he reminds me of his father, the way that he's got this incredible burst of speed. I think Andre's doing a great job with him. When the Moors had him before and they were bringing him down here, he was making your eyes stick out then with this big rushes that he'd put on the end of his mile. But I really think that Andre's got him dialed in right now. I'm going to play him on top, Sergeant Slaughter in for second. Now, I think we do have that replay of RJ Ringo as well in that last start, or unless we already showed it. No, we didn't? Okay, good. So anyway, this is his last start. I wanted to show you this because this is a third quarter in 26-4, and then he does what he ends up doing it on the end of it there. But I mean, it's just the way that he's racing right now. It's just fantastic. Are we sure this is the same race?
This is the horse you wanted to show here. This is this looks like $1 million for
Oh,
Mike Wittnowski.
right. I'm
The
sorry.
6
Yeah,
horse.
yeah,
Watch
yeah.
the 6 horse.
Yeah. So this is the 5 horse. Looks like $1 million in here tonight. I wanted to show you this one because of this huge rush he put on. Now, what's kind of comical about the story too is that you liked this horse
I
right
did.
from the very beginning. He ends up going off at 12-1. And the movement that he put on the end of it, coming out of Stretch's barn, Nowitzki barn, they've been doing very, very good this year. I am going to go with RJ Ringo, Sergeant Slaughter in for second, but looks like $1 million. I wanted to show you that because I was impressed.
Right.
So, if he can come back to sort of somewhat around that same kind of dangerous movement on the end of it, I think he's hitting your ticket.
Well, we had got the scoop from Mike because I had talked to him a couple of days before that, and we were talking about like a sickness going through his barn, and he said, geez, it's been like, 2 weeks up and down with these temperatures and all that kind of thing. And then he had mentioned, look, I think I got the whole barn healthy again. And so I had said that to you on the show because we were kind of leaving those horses off our ticket. I said, I think we're good to start using them again. And then he pulls off this huge second place effort. Now, I get he's moving up a bit here tonight too, but he did make our watch list.
Well, that, and I mean, it's not like he's looking to overpower fields. The way that he raced last week,
Yeah.
he just stayed down in amongst them and then bolted on the end of it. That's the part that got me, was the bolt on the end of it. I consider that to be a dangerous horse. Those kinds of horses, if they can stay in amongst them, stay 3 or 4 lengths away from them, and then they find that seam, look out, because they can do a lot of damage to you.
Well, we have another horse coming up in race number 12, which is where we play the jackpot high five. The carryover's more than 36,000. We have another horse who made the watch list. So there's 3 horses on tonight's program that made our watch list. And one of them was a horse that we talked about when we wrapped up the card last Saturday, which is Armor Sealster. Got onto the Lasix program. And, like we had said, I know it's a bit of an inconvenience sometimes because you got to ship in much earlier. But the horse had a much better effort finishing 4th. I just was a little bit bummed out when I saw that he drew the 10 hole.
Which one do we have here, Luke? Is this Gentle on My Mind?
No,
or Armor?
this is Armor.
Sealster. Okay, so I got this guy in for second. Elisa does draw the 10-hole.
Yep.
Second start Lasix, but we know the back class that he brings, to the plate. I was actually talking to Gabby Sasso about this horse, and she said, it was always in the back of my mind that he could be bleeding, but he never really showed me enough of it. And then a couple of starts ago or whatever, he did show a bit more, so she elected to go to the Lasix on him. Here he is on the outside for Bobby, and he is absolutely flying on the end of it. You can really see it on the run out. So I think that second start Lasix, that's my angle. I think that he's going to be good in here. If he didn't have the 10-hole, I probably would have been putting him up on top, but I am going to go to Brookdale Johnny up on top. He was a winner in his last start. Now, this is the other one, a replay that I wanted to show you in here. Now, this is Gentle on My Mind for Anita Willette. Now, this is January the 11th, this race. I thought that this was a really good movement on the end of it with this guy too, and he's recently won just a couple of starts back, then missed the following week when he was vet scratch sick. So this is his first start back after the vet scratch sick. Look at the angle that CK pulls on this guy, brings him right to the outside, starts to fire him forward. And like I said, this horse won his start before that, but missed a little bit of time in between for sickness. Look at the flight that he's got going here. Wanted to show you that one as well. I do think that they're really dangerous horses. We talk about watch lists all the time. I keep mine. If a horse makes my watch list, then that's one thing. If he really impresses me, I put a star beside his name as well. In this race, Beach and Lindy, star beside his name. Gentle on My Mind, the replay that we just showed you, star beside his name. Windblowing, made my watch list. Highland Beach Lover, made my watch list. Brookdale Johnny, made my watch list. Piper Inch Charlie, made my watch list. Armor Sealster, made my watch list. What I'm trying to say is I think that this is going to be an extremely competitive field of horses in this 12th race. They're going to make you work for this high five tonight.
And you don't have to stay up till midnight to get
No.
it. Because with the new post time, you're going to be playing it around 10:30 or so.
Yeah, and I'll be
Somewhere
sleeping by
around there.
10:35.
So 12 in store for you tonight. Just one trotting race. The Preferred Pace is our on-track feature for you, which goes as race number 10. And we've got some plays of the night to pass along your way. I'm sure we'll start first with the Hall of Famer.
Oh,
yes.
Look at the picture they changed
See,
to.
I noticed that. Now, where's the picture of you and me?
I don't know. I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I'm
I don't know about this one. I think
I'm
it's
blaming
time.
Chad.
Yeah, like we only took 500 pictures that day.
So here we go. I'm going to start on race 3 with Blue Pacific. She is so stoked up my interest there. I can't wait to see her tonight. She's going to be my beat the fave. I do not see her going favorite status, but I do see her playing maybe spoiler in there. Worth a look's going to be Major Fernco with that move up. I do not see him, taking a whole lot of support in there. I look at him as a dangerous horse, but a horse can still win that race. All in. Salzburg Victor. If you're looking for a single, I suggest that one. Waples Watch, Dream Fair Arnie B. I've been waiting to, land on this guy for a few weeks. I think he's good to go. Good post to work with, and that's going to be my Waples Watch.
Hope you haven't changed my picture. Oh, good. It's still the one where they fixed me up. But they put the red in behind.
Who's
wow.
she?
It's like the sun
Who's
setting.
that?
Well, it's
that?
me with a lot of makeup on and airbrushing. And you were there. There was a lot of hairstylists. There was a whole bunch of... I don't wake up looking like this, folks. Wow. All in. Giggity, giggity. We talked about that one. Yes. He's my all-in tonight from the Dion Barn. My wild card is above my pay grade in the 4th race on the card tonight. I just thought it might be a horse that we could play at a bit of a price, 6-1 for the Cullens. My rebound horse is Wheels, and my upset horse is that Mike Wittnowski horse, looking like $1 million in race number 11 on the card. A guard at Barnsdale's got a spot play tonight. It's Smokin' Hot Scott, who is a first-time starter in the opener on the program. Salzburg Victor is Giselaine's top pick. He should be good for 2 in a row the way he won last start out. And Batter Up Hanover is a top selection in the 12th race for Robert Reed. Those are the selections. Yes, maybe Dougie's going to have another big night tonight. It's very much possible. We are in store for a good one. 12 races on tonight's program from Woodbine Mohawk Park. Randy and I will be here to bring you all the insight, and Chad will be telling you everything that's happening on the track tonight. Good luck with your selections.